Well, you guys, I'm sure you've already seen it in the title, but today we're either going to make the worst financial decision of my life or one of the best. So, to be determined as of this moment. We're headed to the bank to get some cash out, and yes, we're doing another marketplace deal today. I hope it works out. I definitely have a lot of explaining to do after my last video, but we'll get into that here in a bit. Well, we picked up the cash and we are headed to the deal now, but man, is it bright out. We got a solution for that. Damn! Shout out to Dirty Kurt over at Filthy Shades, man. Link in the description. But as always, guys, this was a super last-second decision. I know I said I was going to go a completely different route, but if the deal's right, I'm going to buy everything. And if this turns out to be as good of a deal as I think it's going to be, it's a no-brainer. Brand new, this four-wheeler was over $15,000. I was gonna go the completely other route, get something super cheap and build it up, but we can still do that in the future. I really wanted to get my hands on this thing, but I don't want to talk too much because I'm still not sure that this is gonna happen, so I'll try to film some when I get there. Fingers crossed.
Bam! What? Bam!
It's made out of hockey sticks and a piece of wood.
Yeah, but it's tight.
Well, unfortunately, things just did not work out with that deal. It was pretty clapped. I can tell it was rode hard, put away wet, and that's not something that I wanted to get involved with. That being said, sometimes you just gotta walk away. I've got about 3 hours invested in this trip, but it's just not worth the future headache that thing could have brought. A little bummed out, sure, but it just wasn't meant to be. So I think we're gonna stick to the plan and get the Honda that I wanted. Hopefully we can find something else, and until then, we'll see you later.
One eternity later.
What's going on, guys? I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. We are live from New York right now. Yes, you heard it right. What the hell are we doing in New York? We're picking up a new toy, a boat to be exact. Yes, we're getting our hands on a Honda boat. We're actually headed to Pennsylvania, but we had to go through the top of New York first. Might actually stop at Niagara Falls on the way back. But we're picking up a Honda. It's been a long search. I'm over it at this point, but I got my hands on a one-owner barn find. This thing is gonna be mint. I don't wanna say too much about the purchase, so you'll see it here in a bit. Come along with us and enjoy the drive. It's clapped out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't buy it.
Shut up, you're lying.
10-hour drive for a base model Rancher. What the hell is going on? So as some of you know, I had the Outlander 650 XT, not the XMR, so I didn't have the snorkels or the radiator relocate. And one of my favorite things to do on something more than two wheels is stuff like this, riding through creeks, taking it through ponds. And I've actually never owned anything snorkeled or never been able to go too deep. And the more that I rode the Can-Am, the more of an itch that I had to do that. So I thought about snorkeling it, doing the radiator relocate, pretty much turning it into an XMR. And with the Can-Am, there's just so much more that you have to worry about. Those V-twin Rotax engines, if you get water in them, it's not good. Everything about them is more expensive. The axles, the seals, the bearings. So being that it wasn't an XMR to begin with, I really just didn't want to hassle with that and have the headache of, if I do sink the thing, how much money I'd have to shell out to repair it. So back to the Rancher. In the off-road scene especially, and pretty much any other category, Honda is known for their reliability, and with a lot of the newer ATVs, they're just absolutely flooded with electronics, and that can be a good thing in some cases. I mean, that Can-Am literally rode itself. It was like riding on a cloud, the power steering, just all of the adjustments that you could make. It really was a land yacht. But in that same sense, it just kind of took away a lot of the experience. You didn't have to do much, just kind of point it in a general direction and it would get you there. But with water especially, and all the extra electronics and sensors, it just can end up being a major headache. So I wanted to go on the completely opposite end of the spectrum and get something with as little to no electronics as possible, and that's how we ended up with the base model Rancher. Now it is four-wheel drive, that was a must for me, but if you know anything about the Honda ATVs, the electronic shift system is junk. If you own one and you haven't had problems with it yet, you're probably going to, but this one does not have it. So bare bones here, this did come with a winch, which I was super happy about. Definitely in my current handicap state, it's nice to have a winch and know that I can get out of some tricky situations by myself. Another thing that I did want to have is fuel injection. I thought about buying an older 4-Trax, and I almost did, but for about the same price and 20 years newer, I got the fuel injected Rancher, so can't complain. It is the 420, so 420 cc's of raw power. But obviously this does not have a CVT, so no belt, you have actual gears, and so far I've really enjoyed that, being able to pick a gear, not having to worry about a belt slipping. But the biggest thing for the water especially is you don't have to worry about snorkeling it. You only have to have one snorkel for the Hondas, and that's the airbox. Yes, you gotta run a bunch of vent lines, that will be in a future video because we're doing a full water build on this thing. We're gonna have a Honda boat when it's all said and done, and we're gonna be having some fun in some streams, some ponds, all that good stuff. But that is why we went from a Can-Am, drove 10 hours, and got a base model Rancher. We're gonna be sinking this thing, and I wanted as little to go wrong as possible. But enough talking about this thing, let's hop on and go for a ride. All right, so let's get right to this. I know a lot of you were expecting me to get a Rubicon, and honestly, that's what I wanted, but I just couldn't find a good deal on one. I got a super good deal on this Rancher, and I've been pretty happy with the straight axle so far. It hasn't bothered me. Now, I've rode three-wheelers in the past, and I'm used to the way that they ride, so coming from the Can-Am with independent rear suspension, I don't have any regrets. I mean, I've got way less than half of the money invested in this thing, so I don't expect it to ride the same. I think it rides very well. But like I said, this is the 2016, so it is fuel injected, which was a must for me, man. I hate messing with carbs, and I like to know when I hit that button that it's gonna fire up every time, no matter the weather. It's hard for me to judge on a scale of 1 to 10, but ride quality, I'd probably give it a 6 or 7. We're gonna stick with 7. I think it's plenty smooth, and especially for me with a handicapped leg, I actually do have a torn ACL right now. Future update on that. But for me, with my bum leg, it is plenty comfortable and it rides smooth enough. Pushing a wake there, woo! Heck yeah. Another huge plus that I've noticed so far is just the size of this. The Can-Am is a frickin' land yacht, so this thing squeezes into a lot of tighter areas opposed to the Can-Am. Woo! I think it's torquey, so we'll talk about power next. Obviously, you've got 5 speeds here. It is the foot shift, which I love. To me, it's really torquey on the low end, the top end, and not so much. But I didn't buy this thing to go fast. So if you're looking for something to go fast, well, get something CVT. Polaris and the Can-Ams with the V-twin, they scream. The single cylinders, not so much, but everything's a trade-off. I just wanted something bare bones that we could snorkel and have some fun in the water, and you can't go wrong with the Honda. So I'll go ahead and run through the gears really quick. First, second, third, fourth. We are in 4-wheel drive. Fifth. Just completely falls off in fifth, but to me that's plenty of power for a 4-wheeler. Still enough to get up to a decent speed and have some fun and get sideways in some corners, especially with that straight axle. I have found myself multiple times coming to a stop in like 5th gear and hitting the throttle and being like, what the hell? So the manual will take me a couple days to get used to. So why the 10-hour drive to New York, ultimately Pennsylvania and back, just for a base model Rancher? Well, I couldn't find one. I could only find the electric shift, which, as I said, are prone to a lot of issues. So I wanted a specific model, and there just aren't many out there for sale. These things are selling like crazy right now, just ATVs in general. So as soon as I came across this, I lucked out. It was the original owner. Might as well call it a barn find, and it's a perfect platform to start out with. And I don't feel bad about snorkeling this. I came across a mint barn find of a 4-track, and man, I would have just felt bad tearing that thing up in the water. But this, I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen, but there are a hell of a lot of these out there. People just don't want to sell them. I had to have the 4-wheel drive, especially for what I want to do. It is an open diff though, so you might as well be 3-wheel drive. So far, I haven't found it to be an issue. Granted, this is all that I've really done with it. Nothing too crazy, and I'm sure once I get in the mud, I'm going to experience some issues. So we might throw a locker in the front, to be determined. But oh crap, I don't think we can go through that yet without a snorkel. Woo! We're just gonna send it, and oh my god, I can't even step in this. We're going deep already. Woo! Exhaust underwater. Just whipped her out of there. Still got some snow back here. Oh, baby. And we found the water. All right, so let's talk about the build. What are we gonna do to this Rancher 420? Starting from the ground up, wheels and tires, that is a must. These are still the stock tires. Have really good tread on them, but they just don't cut it in the mud. I'm probably gonna go with a 27-inch tire, get a little bit more ground clearance out of that. Any higher than that and you're just gonna bog down the engine unless you do a gear reduction. Not opposed to that, but that involves breaking into the engine, so we wanna avoid that as long as possible. Apart from that, we're gonna have to vent everything. The differentials, the fuel tank, the radiator, etc. All in all, I think there's like 7 vent lines that we're gonna have to run, and obviously we're going to snorkel the thing. So realistically, we should be able to go in about 4 to 5 foot deep water and not swamp the thing. So that's the plan. I'm definitely going to change the diff fluid soon. I doubt that it's ever been done, so I'll do a video with that. Wheels, tires, obviously snorkel. Definitely going to throw a light bar on here for some more light. Might do some hand guards just because I liked having that on the Can-Am. But apart from that, let me know what you want to see. Definitely keeping the stock exhaust. I know a lot of people hate the stock exhaust, but I don't like the noise. I like being stealth. But really, this is just the perfect platform to start with. A fresh, unmolested ATV is hard to come by pre-owned. So I gotta say, I'm happy with the find. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and if you're excited for the Honda boat build. We got a little bit of daylight left, so let's go play around and try not to swamp this thing just yet.